The following events occurred between March 31st and April 4th, 1922. On a small farm in Bavaria, Germany, 6 people died. The case remains unsolved. This is the story of Hinterkaifeck. Andreas Gruber was 63 years old. He lived with his family on an isolated farm 70 kilometers north of Munich. The property was surrounded by forest. The nearest neighbor was nearly a kilometer away. Living with Andreas was his wife, Cecilia, their widowed daughter, Victoria, Victoria's 2 children, Cecilia, 7 years old, and Josef, 2, and Victoria's parents-in-law, who had moved in that winter. 6 people, 1 house. No witnesses. In March of 1922, Andreas Gruber began telling neighbors strange things. He found footprints in the snow. They led from the edge of the forest to his house, but none led back. Someone had been watching. Someone had approached and had not left. A few days later, Andreas heard sounds in the attic. Footsteps. He searched the house but found nothing. The attic was empty. Then he found a newspaper on his property. He didn't subscribe to it. No one in the area received it. It was a Munich paper. Recent. As if someone had been reading it in his home. Finally, his set of house keys disappeared. He searched everywhere. They were simply gone. Andreas did not call the police. He told his neighbors he would wait, see what happened next. He never got the chance. March 31st, 1922. The method of entry was never determined. The doors showed no signs of forced entry. The windows were intact. But someone was inside. The killer used a mattock, a farming tool, similar to a pickaxe. Andreas was lured to the barn first, possibly by a disturbance with the animals. He was killed there. Cecilia, his wife, followed. Then Victoria. The killer did not enter the house immediately. 7-year-old Cecilia was the next to die. She was found in her bed. She had not run. She had not screamed. The 2-year-old, Josef, was killed in his crib. The parents-in-law were last, killed in their bed. 6 people, all dead within hours of each other. But this is not where the story ends. The murders occurred on Friday night, or possibly Saturday morning. The bodies were not discovered until Tuesday. For 4 days, the farm was occupied by the killer. Evidence showed that someone had remained on the property. The cattle were fed. Fresh milk was found in the kitchen. Food from the pantry had been eaten. Neighbors reported seeing smoke from the chimney on Saturday and Sunday. Someone was burning fires, staying warm. On Monday, a repairman came to fix the feeding machine in the barn. He worked for hours. He later testified that the house was silent, but the dog was tied up near the barn, and someone had recently fed the animals. He did not check the house. The bodies were found the next day. On April 4th, concerned neighbors entered the property. they found the barn door open. Inside, under piles of hay, they found 4 bodies: Andreas, Cecilia, Victoria, and young Cecilia. The girl had not died immediately. She had survived for several hours, lying next to her dead family, pulling out her own hair in clumps. She was found with handfuls of it. In the house, they found Josef and the grandparents. The killer had covered the mirrors and closed the windows, as if preparing to stay longer. The police investigation was extensive for its time. Over 100 suspects were interviewed. Victoria's husband had died in the war, or so they thought. There were rumors he had survived, that he had killed the family for some unknown reason. He was never found. A traveling salesman was questioned. He had visited the farm days before. He had no alibi, but no evidence connected him. A former suitor of Victoria's was investigated. He had threatened the family before. He denied everything. The evidence was circumstantial. The most disturbing theory involved Victoria herself. Joseph, her youngest child, was rumored to be the son of Andreas, her own father. This was never proven, but it created a web of possible motives: jealousy, shame, revenge. No one was ever charged. The farm was demolished in 1923. The evidence destroyed. The case files lost in World War II. What remains are the autopsy reports, the witness statements, and the questions. Who watched the house for days or weeks before? Who walked through the snow and never walked back? Who lived with the dead for 4 days? And why? In 2017, students at a police academy re-examined the case using modern techniques. They concluded that the killer was likely someone who knew the family, someone familiar with the farm, but they could not name them. The Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved, over a century later. If you have information about this case, or any other story you'd like to share, thank you for listening. Good. The following is an original story. It is not based on real events, but it could be. This is the security footage. Marcus Chen needed the money. That was the only reason he took the night shift at Secure Store, a self-storage facility on the edge of town. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 8 hours, alone. The building was a single-story structure, 200 storage units, indoor and outdoor, each monitored by security cameras. Marcus sat in an office no larger than a closet, 8 monitors in front of him, showing grayscale feeds from every angle. His job was simple: watch the screens, log any unusual activity, call the police if someone broke in. In 3 months, he had made exactly 2 calls. Both were false alarms. Raccoons. He brought a book to work now. He stopped watching the screens so closely. The facility had patterns. Marcus learned them within weeks. Unit 156 was accessed every Tuesday at 2 a.m. A man in a pickup truck. He stayed for 20 minutes, never longer. Unit 89 was visited by a woman every few days, always at midnight. She cried in her car for 10 minutes before going inside. Marcus never reported these visits. They weren't breaking any rules. They were just sad. The cameras recorded everything. Marcus only needed to watch. Most nights, he didn't. Then came Thursday, 2:14 a.m. Marcus was reading when he heard the sound. Not from outside, from the monitors. A soft crackle, like static. He looked up. Camera 7 was showing snow, grey and white interference, the image flickering. Camera 7 monitored Unit 244, indoor unit, climate controlled, 10 by 10 feet. Marcus checked the log. Unit 244 was rented 6 months ago, paid in full for a year. The tenant had never visited. Not once. Marcus tapped the monitor. The static cleared. Unit 244's door was closed, locked. The hallway was empty, but the motion sensor was blinking. A small red light in the corner of the screen. Something was moving inside. Marcus checked the entry log. No code had been entered. The door had not been opened, but the sensor kept blinking. Company protocol was clear. If motion is detected, verify visually. If door is secure, log and continue monitoring. Do not investigate alone. Marcus called his supervisor. Voicemail. He checked the other cameras. All normal. All empty. Camera 7, Unit 244. The sensor blinked. Marcus should have called the police. That was protocol 2. Better safe than sorry. But it was 2 a.m. and it was probably a rat, or a moth near the sensor, or water damage. He decided to wait. At 2:26 a.m., the static returned, just for a moment. When it cleared, the motion sensor was dark. Whatever had been moving had stopped. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He watched camera 7. It showed nothing. An empty hallway, a closed door. At 6 a.m., his relief arrived. A man named David, 60 years old, worked days for 12 years. Marcus told him about Unit 244. David frowned. That unit is empty, he said. Not empty, Marcus corrected. Rented, but unused. No, David said. Empty. I helped clean it out last month. Tenant defaulted. We cut the lock. Nothing inside. Marcus checked the computer. Unit 244 showed active. Paid through the end of the year. That's wrong, David said. I was there. We emptied it. They walked to Unit 244 together, morning light through the high windows. The facility felt different in the day. Smaller, less threatening. The door was closed. A padlock hung from the latch, but not a company lock. This one was older, rusted, something from a hardware store, not their standard issue. "That's not our lock," David whispered. "They didn't open it." David called the police. 2 officers arrived by 8 a.m. The padlock was cut. The door rolled up. The unit was empty. 4 concrete walls, a concrete floor, no windows, a single light fixture, dark. But the walls were wrong. Every surface was covered in writing, thousands of words, etched into the concrete with something sharp. Names, dates, addresses. Marcus recognized his own name near the floor. Small, dated 3 weeks ago. He hadn't told anyone he applied for this job. Not his friends, not his family. He hadn't even decided to take it yet. The police reviewed the security footage. Camera 7 showed Marcus entering the unit at 2:31 a.m. He had no memory of this. He was inside for 6 minutes. Then he walked back to the office, sat down, continued reading his book. But the motion sensor kept blinking in Unit 244 for 3 more hours, detecting movement in an empty room. Marcus was not charged. No crime had been committed. Breaking into your own storage unit is not illegal, even if you don't remember doing it. He quit the job, moved to a different city, started seeing a therapist. The therapist suggested stress, sleepwalking, dissociative episodes. Marcus almost believed it. Then he received a package. No return address. Inside was a hard drive. And the note. The note said, "Camera 7 saw what you didn't." Marcus has not watched the footage. The hard drive sits in his drawer. He knows he was alone in that unit. But camera 7 recorded for 6 hours that night, and the motion sensor never stopped blinking. I need to tell you what I found, because I don't know what else to do with it. This happened last Tuesday, October 14th. I found a phone in a Target parking lot, and I shouldn't have picked it up. I was leaving work late, 9:47 p.m. I remember because I checked my watch. The parking lot was mostly empty, maybe 12 cars scattered across 50 spaces. I was in row 7, near the cart return. I saw it glinting under the streetlight. A smartphone, Samsung Galaxy, cracked screen but powered on. The lock screen showed 9:48 p.m. Wednesday, October 8th. That was wrong. Today was Tuesday the 14th. I figured the date was just wrong, or I was misremembering. I picked it up. My plan was simple. Turn it in to customer service. Let them deal with it. I walked toward the store. The phone rang. Unknown number. I shouldn't have answered. I know that now. But I did. A voice said, "Don't turn it in." It wasn't a question. It was a command. "Who is this?" I asked. "Look at the photos," the voice said, then hung up. I stood in the parking lot, alone, holding a stranger's phone. I should have dropped it, walked away. Instead, I swiped open the camera roll. The most recent photo was time-stamped 9:47 p.m. 1 minute ago. It showed my car from behind, from maybe 20 feet away. I spun around. The parking lot was empty. I scrolled down. The next photo was from 9:46 p.m. My car again, from the driver's side, showing me inside, checking my phone before starting the engine. I hadn't seen anyone. I was sure of it. 9:45 p.m. Me walking across the parking lot, leaving the store. 9:44 p.m. Me at the self-checkout, paying for gum and a water bottle. Each photo was taken from behind me, from a distance, never showing who was holding the phone. I kept scrolling. Further back, 9:30 p.m. My car in the office parking lot. I leave work at 9:30. 9:15 p.m. Me at my desk. Through the office window. From the street. 8 p.m. Me buying coffee. A different store. Different part of town. The photos went back days. Weeks. Then I reached October 1st. 3 weeks ago. The photo showed me sleeping. In my bed. In my apartment. The angle was from the doorway. I live alone. I always lock my door. September 15th. Me at a restaurant with friends. The photo was taken from the next table. An empty chair. No one sitting there. September 3rd. Me grocery shopping. Reaching for cereal. August 22nd. Me on a date. The woman never looked at the camera. She didn't know she was being photographed. The oldest photo was dated July 4th. I was at a barbecue. My brother's house. Surrounded by family. The photo was taken from the bushes. Outside the fence. In the corner of the frame, you could see my face, I was laughing. And in the window behind me, there was a reflection. Someone standing in the trees, holding up a phone, taking my picture. The phone rang again. Same unknown number. I answered. "Do you see?" the voice asked. "Who are you?" I whispered. "Why are you doing this?" "You dropped this phone on Tuesday," the voice said. "October 7th, at 9:48 p.m. in a Target parking lot." I didn't understand. "Today is Tuesday," I said. "October 14th. Silence. "Check your watch," the voice said. I looked down. My watch said 9:48 p.m. Wednesday, October 8th. The date on the lock screen had been right. I had been wrong. I started. "You will," the voice said. "Check the last photo." The line went dead. My hands were shaking. I opened the camera roll. The most recent photo was no longer my car. It was time-stamped 9:50 p.m. October 14th. 1 week from now. It showed me in a different parking lot, holding a phone, looking at the screen, with an expression I recognized, because I was making it now. Behind me in the photo, 20 feet away, standing under a streetlight, was me taking the picture. I still have the phone. I've tried to destroy it. It won't break. I've tried to lose it. It comes back. I've tried to tell people. They don't believe me, or they can't see what I see. New photos appear every day, always from the future, always showing me, always showing who is watching. Today's photo is from October 21st. I'm standing on a bridge. I don't know which bridge. I'm alone, and I'm holding the phone out in front of me, arm extended, like I'm taking a selfie. But my eyes aren't looking at the camera. They're looking behind it, at whoever will find the phone. If you find a Samsung Galaxy in a parking lot, cracked screen, powered on, don't pick it up. But if you already have, check the photos and look behind you. Good night. The following is an original story. It is not based on real events, but the fear is real. This is the upstairs neighbor. I moved into the apartment on March 3rd, Unit 2B, ground floor of a 2-story building. The landlord said the upstairs unit was empty, had been for months. The rent was cheap, too cheap. I didn't ask why. The first week was normal. I unpacked. I settled in. I started my new job. Then I heard the footsteps. They started at 11 p.m. every night, without fail. Heavy, slow, walking from one end of the apartment to the other, back and forth, for hours. I told myself it was an old building. Settling noises, pipes, the wind. But footsteps don't walk in patterns, and pipes don't stop at exactly 3 a.m. On March 12th, I knocked on my landlord's door. I asked about the upstairs neighbour. He looked confused. Unit 3B is empty, he said. Has been since October. I asked if anyone had been showing it, if workers had been by, if anyone had access. No, he said. Want to see it? We walked up the stairs together. The landlord fumbled with his keys. The door opened. The apartment was empty. No furniture, no carpet, dust on every surface. I walked to the center of the room, the exact spot where I heard the footsteps. The floor was concrete, covered in dust. No footprints. That night, the footsteps were louder. They started at 10:30 p.m., earlier than before. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. They walked to my bedroom, stopped directly above me. Then the dragging started. Something heavy being pulled across the floor, slowly, back and forth, above my bed. At 2:47 a.m. it stopped. I checked my phone. I had a text message from an unknown number. It said, "Sorry about the noise." I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called the phone company. The text came from a landline, registered to my building, Unit 3B. I called the police, non-emergency line. I explained the situation. An officer arrived at 6 p.m. Officer Reyes, young, patient. She listened to the whole story. We walked up to 3B together. The landlord let us in. Same empty apartment. Same dust. Officer Reyes checked the windows, the closets, the bathroom. "No one's been here," she said. "Place is empty." She suggested I stay somewhere else for a few nights, see if it continued. I stayed with my sister. March 14th and 15th. No footsteps. I returned on March 16th, confident it was over. At 11 p.m, they started again, but different this time. Faster. Running. Back and forth. Then stopping. Directly above me. And the knocking began. 3 raps on the floor. Directly above my bed. Then a voice, muffled through the ceiling. It said my name. I don't know how it knew my name. I called Officer Reyes immediately. She arrived in 20 minutes. We went up to 3B. The landlord met us with his keys. The door was already unlocked. Inside, the dust had been disturbed. Footprints leading from the door to the center of the room, then stopping. In the center of the room was a phone, an old rotary phone, disconnected. The receiver was off the hook. Officer Reyes picked it up. She listened. Her face changed. She handed it to me. I put it to my ear. I could hear breathing. And then, "Come up and join me." I moved out the next day. Broke the lease. Lost my deposit. I didn't care. Officer Reyes filed a report. She checked the building records. Unit 3B had been empty since October, but before that, it was occupied by a man named David Kessler. He lived there for 8 years, alone. In October, the landlord found him, dead. Natural causes. He had been dead for 3 weeks before anyone noticed. His routine never changed. The neighbors said he walked every night, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., back and forth, pacing. The landlord cleaned out the apartment, sold the furniture, left it empty, but he didn't check the crawl space. Last week, I got a call from Officer Reyes. They found something in 3B, a hatch in the closet ceiling, leading to a small attic space. Inside, they found a mattress, a lamp, food wrappers, and a journal. David Kessler had been living in the walls for months before he died. He would access 3B through the attic, walk the apartment at night, then return to his crawl space. But he died in October, and the footsteps continued in March. The journal's last entry was dated March 10th, 3 days before I moved in. It said, "New neighbor in 2B. He doesn't know I'm here yet. I'll introduce myself soon." David Kessler died in October, but someone was writing in his journal in March. And the crawl space, it was big enough for 2 people. I live in a new building now. Top floor. No upstairs neighbors. But sometimes at 11 p.m, I hear footsteps on the roof. And last night I got a text. Unknown number. It said, "Miss me?" If you hear footsteps upstairs and your landlord says the place is empty, check the crawl spaces. Check the walls. And if you find a journal, don't read the last entry. Good night.